That's a cover. This is a cover-up. I think is irresponsible.
Austin's police chief denying accusations of a cover-up after a leaked report contradicts the department's version of what happened in the Nathaniel Sanders shooting. I'm David Scott. When the City of Austin's independent review of last year's shooting came out in October, it was far from complete. Major sections dealing with Officer Leo Quintana, who shot Sanders, were redacted from the document. Well, now, information from the unedited version of that report has appeared in the newspaper. Jacqueline Inglés has been looking at this story all night long and joins us now with the very latest. Jackie?
David, these contradictions are adding fuel to the fire of critics who accuse Austin police and the city of a cover-up. The report apparently uses the words excessive force and reckless to describe Quintana's fatal shooting of Sanders. It also says Quintana fired on 18-year-old Sanders without seeing a gun in the teenager's hand. Chief Acevedo held a press conference this afternoon defending his ruling that Quintana acted within department policy.
For him to say that my mayor, my manager, and the police chief have engaged in a cover-up, I find offensive, I find inflammatory, and quite honestly, I find it irresponsible.
Austin's police chief firing back this afternoon at critics of how he handled the independent review of former officer Leo Quintana. That review called Quintana's actions in the fatal shooting of 18-year-old Nathaniel Sanders in May 2009 reckless. Earlier in the day, leaders from two civil rights groups criticized Acevedo and other city officials for not releasing the full report.
What they're doing is making us pay $50,000 to cover up a killing that the investigators found to be unjustified.
We've said from day one that excessive force here obviously occurred. They should have addressed it early on and made sure this officer was terminated based on his behavior, and they didn't.
Quintana lost his job this week after he was arrested in January for DWI, just hours after he underwent lengthy questioning regarding the Sanders case. Acevedo defends his ruling and says as a soldier of the law, he is prohibited by federal law from releasing the full report, despite his deep desire to be transparent.
I'm chopping at the bit for my opportunity to speak up on our reasonings, our findings. I have to obey the law. I have no choice.
All this does is reflect that as much as they have told us that things are changing, that things are not changing. You know, they don't want to be held accountable for what's happened.
He feels that the mayor, city manager, and Acevedo need to pay taxpayers back the $50,000 they spent on this review. Acevedo, however, is standing by his report and reiterated many times that he looks forward to openly, honestly, and thoroughly testifying at the civil trial. Live in the studio, Jacqueline Inglés, KXAN Austin News.
And Mayor Lee Leffingwell getting caught up in this dispute now. He was quoted in the newspaper as saying that the report's conclusions were, quote, just an opinion. Well, later this afternoon, Leffingwell changed his tune, responding, saying, quote, the council remained unaware of the full details until they were reported in the media. Like everyone, I'm troubled by the findings of the report and intend to review the matter fully.